I, 30 female, have been married to my husband, 45 male for 5 years and together for 8. Obviously we have an age gap in our relationship, and whenever we discussed possible health issues or medical care, it was regarding him. About 4 months ago, I was in a car accident. I was talking on Bluetooth to my husband, because I was nervous driving on the icy roads going to our house, when another car rounded a corner too fast and lost control. It was one of those exact wrong moment things, and my car went off the road, and into a tree. My husband heard the whole thing, and my last memory, before I lost consciousness, was him screaming my name. I don't want to get into the bloody details, but I ended up being in the hospital for over a month. I needed multiple surgeries, and have been in physical therapy ever since. I am finally getting to a point where I feel like myself again, and am no longer in pain. I've gained back some weight and look good, if I do say so myself. My husband literally worked out of my hospital room for the entire time I was there. He went home to shower, sleep and look after the dogs, then came right back. He attended all my therapy appointments, so he would know how to better help me recover at home. He was amazing, and everything I could ask him to be in that kind of horrible situation. I love him so much, and so yesterday while shopping, I saw this gorgeous black lingerie set and decided to surprise him. We haven't had sex since before the accident, and every time I try, it feels like he makes an excuse, or expresses some concern about some random body part of mine that is no longer injured. He was on his laptop in bed when I came in wearing my new purchases, and I could tell he was taken by surprise. I basically crawled into his lap and started kissing his neck and grinding on him. He was definitely hard, but then he lost it and pushed me away, saying that we shouldn't rush this, and he doesn't want to jeopardize my recovery with sex. I was crying by the time he ended the sentence and said I'm fine. The doctors say sex is fine. But he was already walking into the bathroom and turning on the shower. I don't know what to think. Is it the scars? Is the memory of me in a hospital bed unable to even sit up by myself repelling him? I finally am starting to feel good about myself and my body again, and the fact that he won't touch me is really hurting my mental health. It's probably a long shot, but has anyone else experienced this? Update: thank you again for everyone's kind and thoughtful comments. I read all of them, even if I didn't respond. Last night when we got in bed, I curled up next to my husband and held him. Well, I said basically, we've been through a lot. Would you be willing to get therapy with me to make sure everything is all right for both of us? I love you so much, and I don't want any underlying trauma to affect our relationship. He was silent for about 10 seconds, and then the floodgates opened. I've only seen him cry once or twice in our entire relationship, at our wedding, and the first time I told him I loved him, but I held him while he sobbed for what was probably an hour. He kept apologizing for it, and I had to keep saying, don't be sorry, I'm here, cry if you need to cry. And I shed some tears of my own. It was an exhausting, but ultimately extremely cathartic experience. When it was all over, and he was able to say more than a few words, he told me that there was about 15 minutes when he was sure he had just heard the love of his life die. Then we got to the hospital and the doctors made it clear they would do everything they could, but the extent of my injuries were extreme and severe. Then he spent hours calling family members, waiting, pacing, and trying to grapple with the fact that I might die, and he might be alone. Then I spent 5 days in the ICU, mostly unconscious. He said he's never known fear like that in his life. In the end, we agreed to go to individual and couples therapy, and even touched on the sex thing, wherein he admitted that he knows objectively nothing bad will happen to me if we have sex, but for some reason it is sparking this protective instinct that makes him want to treat me like glass. So we're working on it, and our marriage is amazing. He's the love of my life, and we can get through this.